There's someone who can't stop thinking about you. And I don't mean in the casual way people drift through each other's minds. I mean they're experiencing something they didn't see coming, something that's rearranging how they see everything. Your grace has stopped them in their tracks. Your wisdom has become the standard by which they're now measuring depth. Your light has shown them what they've been searching for without knowing they were searching at all. But here's what I need you to understand right from the beginning. What made them this certain about you isn't what you think. It's not the obvious things. It's not the carefully curated moments or the impressive achievements or the ways you've tried to prove your worth. What's captured them so completely will actually surprise you when you understand it. It might even move you to tears. If you're here, it's because something in you already senses this shift. Maybe you've felt the energy change between you. Maybe you've noticed the way their attention lands on you differently now. Or maybe you have no idea this is happening at all, and you're about to discover something that will completely reframe how you see yourself. I want you to stay close for what's coming, because what I'm about to walk you through isn't just about someone falling for you. It's about why they're falling, and that why will reveal something about who you've become that you may not have fully recognized yourself. This person, whether you know exactly who they are, or you're still discovering it, is experiencing a kind of certainty that's rare. We live in a world of keeping options open, of protecting ourselves from commitment. But something about you has cut through all of that. They're not weighing pros and cons anymore. They're not comparing you to anyone else. They're not building escape routes or maintaining distance. They've crossed over into something much more profound. They're helplessly falling, and they're not trying to catch themselves. The word helpless matters here, because this isn't about them choosing to pursue you or deciding you're a good match. This is about them being unable to not feel this way. Your presence has become essential to their sense of what's possible, and it happened in ways they didn't expect, through qualities they didn't know they were looking for. For those of you who are going to see yourselves clearly in this message, I want to ask you something right now. Drop a heart emoji if you've been wondering whether someone sees you the way you hope they do. Because what I'm about to confirm for you has been building for longer than you realize. Your grace. Let's start there. They've watched how you move through difficulty, not the polished version you present when everything's under control. But the real moments, when things get complicated, when you're tired, when you have every reason to become hard or bitter or closed off, and instead you remain soft, you remain kind, you remain generous with your spirit even when the world hasn't been generous with you. That's what grace actually is. It's not perfection. It's not never struggling. It's the ability to stay tender in a world that rewards toughness. It's choosing to be gentle when you could just as easily be guarded. And they've seen you do this over and over, probably in moments you didn't think anyone was noticing. Your wisdom. They've heard how you speak about life, not the surface opinions everyone shares, but the deeper understanding you carry about how things actually work. You don't need to be the loudest voice in the room to demonstrate wisdom. In fact, you probably aren't, but when you do speak, there's a quality to what you say that reveals you've been paying attention to patterns, to people, to the quiet truths that others miss. Your wisdom shows up in how you ask questions instead of rushing to answers, in how you hold space for complexity instead of forcing simplicity, in how you see people beneath their defenses and understand what they're actually communicating, even when their words say something different. Your light. This is the one that's hardest to describe, but impossible to miss. There's something about your presence that makes spaces feel different. You don't have to perform or entertain or fill every silence. Your light isn't about what you do, it's about what you are. It's the energy you carry that makes people feel more alive when they're near you, more hopeful, more like themselves. And this person has been bathing in that light without even realizing what was happening to them. At first, they just knew they felt better around you. Then they started seeking out opportunities to be near you. Then they realized that when they're away from you, something feels dimmer, less vibrant. They've become helplessly drawn to what you radiate. And now they can't imagine going back to life before they knew what your light felt like. Stay with me, because we're about to go deeper into what's actually happening in their internal world right now. The transformation they're experiencing because of you is profound, and understanding it will change how you see your own impact on the people around you. Let me describe what's been happening in their world lately. They'll be going about their normal routine, maybe sorting through emails, maybe having dinner with friends, maybe driving somewhere they've driven 100 times before, and you'll just appear in their mind without warning. Not as a passing thought, but as a presence that takes over completely. They'll find themselves smiling without realizing it. Their whole body will soften. Whatever they were worried about suddenly feels manageable, because thinking about you reminds them that good things exist. This is happening multiple times a day. They're not controlling it. They're not sitting down to deliberately think about you. You're just there, woven into their consciousness now, showing up in the spaces between their tasks and responsibilities. When they're with other people, they catch themselves comparing everyone else to you. Not in a harsh way. They're not putting others down. But there's this new internal benchmark they can't turn off. They notice when someone is less patient than you are, less thoughtful, less present. And they think, this is why. This is why you've become so important to them. Because you've shown them qualities they didn't know they needed until they experienced them. Here's something they're feeling that they might not have told you. When they imagine their future now, you're in it! Not as a hazy possibility, but as a certainty their soul has already accepted, even if their mind is still catching up. They're making decisions through a new filter now. Would this bring me closer to them or further away? They're considering choices they wouldn't have considered before, because those choices include you. And this isn't coming from desperation or loneliness. This is coming from recognition. Something in them recognized something in you, and that recognition has grown into certainty so solid they would bet their life on it. Let me tell you what they see when they look at you. They see someone who has been through things, real things, hard things, and came out of it with more compassion, not less. They see someone who could have become cynical, but chose to stay open. Someone who could have built walls, but instead built windows. They see your strength, but not the kind the world usually celebrates. Not the I don't need anyone independence or the I can handle anything bravado. They see the strength it takes to be vulnerable. The strength it takes to admit when you don't know something. The strength it takes to ask for help. The strength it takes to love openly in a world that punishes that kind of courage. When you talk about things you care about, they watch your face light up and they think, I want to protect that joy. When you share something that hurt you, they feel it in their own chest and they think, I never want to add to that pain. When you laugh, really laugh, not the polite version, but the unguarded one, they memorize the sound because it's become one of their favorite things on earth. If you're feeling this truth, land in your spirit right now. Type "seen" in the comments. Because I want you to understand, someone is holding space for all of you, including the parts you thought you had to hide. They've noticed things about you that you don't even notice about yourself. The way you touch your face when you're thinking deeply. The way your voice changes when you talk about something meaningful. The way you pause before answering questions because you actually consider what you believe, instead of just responding automatically. These tiny details have become precious to them, and here's where it gets really beautiful. They're not trying to change you. This isn't the beginning of a story where they love you now, but will later try to mold you into someone else. What they're experiencing is the opposite. They're falling for exactly who you are right now, including your quirks and imperfections and the ways you're still figuring things out. In quiet moments, they find themselves praying over you. Or if prayer isn't their language, they're sending you good energy, hoping you're okay, wishing they could absorb some of your burdens. Your well-being has become tied to their own sense of peace. When you're going through something difficult, they feel unsettled until they know you're all right. When something good happens for you, they experience genuine joy, even if it doesn't benefit them at all. This is what helpless falling looks like. It's when another person's happiness becomes as important as your own, when their presence feels like home, when the thought of losing access to them creates actual grief, when you realize you would rearrange your whole life if it meant keeping them close. They're experiencing all of this, and they might be scared by how intense it is. They might be trying to talk themselves out of it. I barely know them, or this is happening too fast, or I'm not ready for this. But none of that self-talk is working because what they feel for you isn't coming from their logical mind. It's coming from somewhere deeper, somewhere that recognizes you as significant to their story in ways they can't fully articulate yet. You know what else they're feeling? Grateful, so deeply grateful that you exist, that they got to meet you, that somehow, in this massive, chaotic world, your path crossed theirs. They lie awake at night sometimes just thinking, what if I had never met them? What if our timing had been different? What if I had missed this? And the hypothetical loss of you, even though they haven't lost you, makes them appreciate your presence even more intensely. We're building towards something important here. Don't go anywhere, because what I'm about to reveal is the specific quality that made them this certain about you. And it's going to shift how you understand your own value. Now let me take you deeper into the specific dimensions of what they're experiencing, because this isn't just surface-level attraction. This is a multi-layered falling that's happening on several planes at once. Intellectually, they're captivated. You challenge them without trying to. You introduce perspectives they hadn't considered. You ask questions that make them examine their own assumptions. Conversations with you don't feel like killing time. They feel like exploration. They walk away from interactions with you feeling mentally stimulated, like their brain just got to stretch in directions it doesn't usually get to go. And it's not because you're showing off or trying to impress them with what you know. It's because you're genuinely curious. You think about things. You make connections between ideas that seem unrelated. You're interested in understanding, not just being right. That quality, the humility combined with intelligence, is intoxicating to them. They've probably tried to explain to friends what they love about you, and they struggle because it's not one thing. It's the whole ecosystem of who you are. Your friend might say, so they're smart. And they'll say, yes, but it's not just that, because intelligence without kindness is cold, and you have both. Intelligence without humor is exhausting, and you have both. Intelligence without empathy is dangerous, and you have both. Emotionally, they feel safe with you in a way that's rare. They can tell you don't need them to perform. You're not keeping score of their value based on what they provide. You see them as a person, not a role. And that permission to just be, without having to earn their place in your attention, is creating an emotional home they've been longing for. When they share something vulnerable with you, you don't minimize it or immediately try to fix it. You don't make it about you. You don't use their pain as an opportunity to showcase your wisdom. You just hold it with them. You let them feel what they feel without rushing them toward positivity. And that capacity, you have to be present with hard things without making them harder. That's what's making them feel like they can trust you with the parts of themselves they usually keep hidden. They're noticing that you don't weaponize information. Things they've told you in confidence stay sacred. You don't bring up their insecurities during disagreements. You don't use what you know about them to manipulate or control. This consistency between your words and actions is building a foundation of trust that's becoming unshakable. Physically, there's a magnetic pull. Not just attraction, though that's there, but something more like attunement. They notice their body responds to your proximity. Their heart rate changes when you enter a room. Their breathing synchronizes when they're sitting next to you. They find themselves unconsciously leaning toward you, orienting their body in your direction, even when they're not talking to you. They're attracted to more than just your appearance. They're attracted to how you inhabit your body, the unself-conscious way you move, the comfort you have in your own skin. Even if you don't feel that comfort consciously, they can sense something authentic in how you exist physically in the world, and it draws them in. When you touch them, even casually, even accidentally, it stays with them. They'll feel the warmth of your hand on their arm hours later. They'll remember the moment your shoulders brushed. They're becoming attuned to your physical presence in ways that feel almost spiritual. Spiritually, something in them recognizes something in you. And I say this, whether you use spiritual language or not. There's a resonance happening at the level of soul. They feel aligned with your energy. They sense that you're both moving in similar directions, even if your paths look different on the surface. They have this knowing, this inexplicable certainty that you're meant to be significant in their life. When they think about destiny or divine timing or soul connections, you're who comes to mind. They might not say this out loud because it sounds too intense, but internally they're grappling with this feeling that meeting you wasn't random, that there's a purpose to your connection they're still discovering. If this is stirring something in your spirit, drop a word in the comments, just one word, that describes what you're feeling right now. I want you to acknowledge this truth that's being spoken over your life. Here's what's happened. You've become the standard. Not in a way that's unfair to other people, but in a way that's honest about what quality looks like. They now understand what it feels like to be around someone who operates from their highest self most of the time. Someone who does the internal work. Someone who takes responsibility for their impact on others. Someone who shows up with integrity. And this standard isn't making them judgmental. It's making them want to grow. Being around you is inspiring them to become better. They're noticing their own patterns that don't serve them. They're becoming more conscious of how they show up in relationships. They're doing their own healing work because you've shown them what's possible when someone commits to evolving. You're not trying to make them better. You're not giving them projects or pointing out their flaws. Your very existence, the way you move through the world, is holding up a mirror that makes them want to rise. That's incredibly powerful. Let me tell you about the moments that sealed this for them. Because there's always specific moments when falling becomes certain. Maybe it was when they were having a terrible day and you checked in on them without being asked. Maybe it was when they saw how you treated someone who couldn't offer you anything in return, a server, a stranger, someone most people would ignore, and they witnessed your kindness when you thought no one was watching. Maybe it was a conversation where you admitted you didn't have all the answers, and your honesty about your own journey made them feel less alone in theirs. Maybe it was watching you handle a difficult situation with grace they're not sure they would have had. Maybe it was something you said that reached into their chest and touched a place they thought was unreachable, or maybe it was quieter than that. Maybe it was just an ordinary moment that somehow contained everything, sitting together in comfortable silence, or laughing about something ridiculous, or the way you looked at them and they felt truly seen for the first time in longer than they can remember. Whatever the moment was, something clicked into place. And from that point forward, the question wasn't, should I pursue this? The question became, how do I honor what I'm feeling? They're thinking about you in ways they haven't thought about someone in years, maybe ever. They're imagining futures they had stopped letting themselves imagine. They're feeling hope about love they had decided wasn't available for them. You've reopened doors they had closed, not because you're perfect, but because you're real in a way that makes them believe real connection is possible. This goes deeper than you think. Stay present, because what's coming next will illuminate why this is happening now. Their previous relationships, their past patterns, all of it is being recontextualized through knowing you. They're understanding why things didn't work before. Not because those people were wrong, but because those connections weren't aligned with who they're becoming. You represent something different. You represent alignment. You represent what it feels like when your soul says yes. And here's the tender truth. They're scared. Not of you, but of how much they're feeling. Not of commitment, but of vulnerability. Not of the relationship, but of the fact that for the first time, they have something real to lose. You've become precious to them, and that preciousness carries the weight of potential heartbreak. So if they seem cautious sometimes, if they pull back after getting close, if they're moving slower than their heart wants to move, understand it's not because they're unsure about you. It's because they're so sure that it terrifies them. Now I'm going to tell you what made them this certain about you. And I need you to really hear this, because it's not what you think. It's not the impressive things. It's not your accomplishments, or your beauty, or your success, or any of the external markers. You might have been taught matter most. What made them this certain about you is how you made them feel about themselves. Let me say that again. What captured them completely, what made them helplessly fall, what created this unshakable certainty, is that in your presence, they like who they are. You don't diminish them to elevate yourself. You don't compete with them. You don't make them feel small or stupid or less than. Instead, being around you makes them feel more like the person they've always wanted to be. Your grace creates space for their grace. Your wisdom invites their wisdom forward. Your light helps them access their own light. This is the rarest gift one person can give another. Most people, even unconsciously, need you to dim so they can shine. Most people need to be the smartest, the funniest, the most interesting person in the dynamic. Most people can't handle someone else's fullness without feeling threatened by it. But you celebrate people into their becoming. You're not threatened by other people's gifts because you're secure in your own. You're not trying to prove anything, so you don't need to disprove anyone else. You have this incredible ability to see people's potential and reflect it back to them before they've fully stepped into it themselves. And this person felt that from you. In ways big and small, you've been showing them the best version of themselves. When they're with you, they're funnier because you genuinely laugh at what they find funny. They're deeper because you ask questions that invite depth. They're more creative because you're interested in their ideas. They're more confident because your regard for them is steady and sincere. You've been watering seeds in them they didn't even know had been planted. And now those seeds are growing, and they're associating that growth with you. They're becoming someone they're proud of, and you're the witness to that becoming. If this revelation is hitting your heart right now, type this in the comments, because I want you to understand the magnitude of what you're carrying as a gift. Here's what they've told themselves, probably late at night when the truth comes clearest. I am better when I'm near them. I am more myself when I'm with them. I like who I'm becoming because they're in my life. That's not dependence. That's not losing themselves in another person. That's recognition of what happens when two people bring out each other's highest nature. That's what partnership is supposed to feel like. Not completing each other as if you're both incomplete, but enhancing each other because you're both already whole. You know what else they've realized? That you see them, not the mask they show the world. Not the role they play in their family or their career. Not the curated version on social media. You see them, the tender parts, the struggling parts, the parts they're still figuring out. And you don't look away. Most people can't tolerate being truly seen. It's too vulnerable. So they keep interactions surface level. They deflect with humor. They stay behind their defenses. But you have this way of making it safe to be fully visible. And once they felt that safety with you, once they experienced what it's like to be authentically themselves and be met with acceptance, there was no going back. They've also recognized your consistency. You don't have a different personality depending on who's around. You don't change your values based on who you're trying to impress. You're the same person in private that you are in public. That integrity, that alignment between who you are internally and how you show up externally is giving them permission to stop performing too. Around you, they don't have to be on. They don't have to be the entertaining version or the impressive version or the always strong version of themselves. They can just be tired sometimes. They can just be quiet sometimes. They can just be human, messy and imperfect and still figuring it out, and you hold space for all of it. This is creating a kind of intimacy that goes beyond romance. This is soul-level intimacy. This is the kind of connection where they can show you their worst day and trust you won't hold it against them. Where they can share their biggest dreams without fear of judgment. Where they can be exactly where they are in their journey without pressure to be further along. Do you understand how rare this is? Do you understand what you're offering? Most people are so busy protecting their own vulnerabilities. that they can't create safety for someone else's. Most people are so focused on getting their own needs met that they can't truly see another person. But you've somehow managed to show up with both strength and softness, with both boundaries and openness, with both self-assurance and humility. And this person is falling helplessly for that combination, because it's the combination they've been searching. For without knowing how to name it, I'm going to share something that might move you to tears. So stay with me. What they're certain about isn't just that they want you in their life. What they're certain about is that you've already changed them. Even if this connection never becomes what they hope it becomes, even if circumstances don't align the way they're praying they will, you've already left a mark on their soul that will never fade. You've shown them what's possible. You've raised their standards for how they deserve to be treated. You've demonstrated that kindness and strength can coexist. You've proven that depth and joy aren't mutually exclusive. You've been a living example of what it looks like to do the work of becoming, and they will carry that with them forever. Whether you're together or apart, whether this is the beginning of something lifelong or a chapter that eventually closes, you've been significant. You've mattered. You've been the catalyst for their own transformation. This is what made them certain. Not the potential of what could be, but the reality of what already is. You've already given them something they didn't have before, a clearer vision of who they want to become, and proof that people like you actually exist. That's the gift your grace has given them. That's the revelation your wisdom has sparked in them. That's the transformation your light has initiated in them. They're not falling for who you might become or what you could offer them. They're falling for exactly who you are right now, in this moment, with all your humanity intact. And they're certain, because the feeling isn't based on fantasy. It's based on the lived experience of what happens when they're in your orbit. If you felt this message speaking directly to your soul, and you've been supported by this content, the Super Thanks feature allows you to contribute to keeping this ministry going. Your support, whatever form it takes, helps create space for these deep truths to keep reaching the people who need them. So what do you do with this information? How do you hold this knowing that someone is falling helplessly for you? How do you honor what's being revealed without losing yourself in it? Let me give you some principles to navigate this with wisdom. First, don't diminish yourself to make them comfortable. Here's what often happens when we discover someone's falling for us. We unconsciously start shrinking. We dial back our light because we don't want to seem like we're too much. We downplay our gifts because we don't want to intimidate them. We become smaller versions of ourselves because we think that's safer. But that's the opposite of what's needed here. They're falling for who you actually are. Your full expression, your authentic presence, your unapologetic being. If you start performing a muted version of yourself, you're actually betraying what they're responding to. Stay big, stay bright, stay fully expressed. Not in an arrogant way, but in a truthful way. The right person doesn't need you to dim so they can handle you. The right person wants to witness all of you and celebrate it. Second, trust your own discernment about them. Just because someone is falling for you doesn't mean you have to fall for them. Just because someone sees your value doesn't mean they're valuable to your journey. Just because someone is certain about you doesn't mean you have to become certain about them. This isn't about ego or playing games. This is about honoring your own inner knowing. You get to take your time. You get to observe how they show up consistently. You get to notice whether their actions align with their words. You get to feel into whether this connection serves your highest good or whether it's just flattering to be wanted. Your grace, your wisdom, your light, these are precious. You don't owe them to anyone just because they appreciate them. You get to choose where you invest your energy. You get to be selective about who receives access to the depths of who you are. So while you're holding the truth that someone is falling for you, also hold the truth that you have agency in this story. You're not a prize to be won. You're not waiting to be chosen. You're in an active process of choosing too. Third, stay grounded in your own journey. It's easy to get swept up in someone else's feelings and lose touch with your own path. It's tempting to start organizing your life around their presence or planning your future based on their certainty. But your journey is yours, with or without them in it. Keep tending your own growth. Keep pursuing your own dreams. Keep nurturing your own healing. Keep developing your own gifts. Don't put your life on pause while you wait to see where this connection goes. Don't abandon your own goals because someone else's attention feels good. The most magnetic thing you can do is remain devoted to your own becoming. The most attractive quality you possess is your commitment to your own evolution. Keep doing the internal work. Keep showing up for yourself. Keep building the life you want to live. If they're meant to be part of that life, they'll fit into what you're already creating. They won't require you to dismantle what you've built. They won't ask you to choose between them and yourself. They'll want to support your journey, not redirect it. Fourth, communicate with honesty. If you know who this person is and you have feelings for them too, don't play small with your truth. Don't hide behind fear or pride or the belief that they should figure it out on their own. If this connection matters to you, let them know. You don't have to declare undying love or pressure them into defining the relationship. But you can be honest about what you appreciate about them. You can be clear about your interest. You can create space for real conversation about what you're both feeling and where you both want this to go. Vulnerability isn't weakness. Clarity isn't neediness. Honesty about your heart isn't chasing. It's actually the most powerful position you can take, to be truthful about what you want, and then let the other person choose freely whether they want that too. And if you're not interested in them romantically, communicate that with kindness. Don't lead them on because their attention feels good. Don't string them along because you're not ready to lose what they offer. Be honest, be gentle, but be clear. Your grace extends to how you handle people's hearts, including telling the truth even when it's disappointing. Type clarity if you're committing to moving forward with honesty, whatever that looks like in your specific situation. Fifth, recognize your own power. What's being reflected to you through this person's certainty is your own impact, your own presence, your own significance. You are not neutral in people's lives. You are not forgettable. You are not ordinary. The grace you carry affects people. The wisdom you embody influences people. The light you radiate changes people. And it's time you owned that fully, not in an egotistical way, but in a responsible way. When you understand your power, you use it consciously. You become intentional about how you show up. You become careful about how you wield your influence. You become protective of your energy because you understand it's not just yours. It's a force that touches everyone who comes near you. Own your magnetism. Own your depth. Own your capacity to affect people's lives. Not because you're special in a way that separates you from others, but because you're special in a way that reminds others of their own specialness. Sixth, allow this to be a mirror. What this person sees in you, you need to start seeing in yourself. Everything they're falling for, your grace, your wisdom, your light, is actually them. It's not their projection. It's not their fantasy. It's real. So if you've been doubting yourself, if you've been feeling inadequate, if you've been wondering whether you have anything valuable to offer, let this be the evidence you've been needing. Let their certainty about you help you become more certain about yourself, not dependent on their validation, but confirmed in what you already suspected was true. You are worthy of this kind of love. You are capable of creating this kind of impact. You are exactly the person you've been trying to become. Let this experience expand your sense of what you deserve. Let it raise your standards for how you expect to be treated. Let it remind you that you don't have to settle for breadcrumbs. When someone is willing to offer you the whole feast, seventh, surrender the outcome. Here's the final and perhaps most important principle. Hold this situation with an open hand. Be present to what's unfolding without gripping it so tightly that you strangle it. Be invested in the connection without being attached to a specific outcome. Sometimes the person who falls helplessly for you is meant to be your partner. Sometimes they're meant to be a catalyst that prepares you for the partner who's coming. Sometimes they're meant to show you your own value before they exit your story. You can't control which it is. You can only show up honestly and let it unfold as it's meant to. Trust that whatever is for you will find you. Trust that if this connection is aligned with your highest good, no amount of fear or doubt will be able to prevent it. Trust that if this connection isn't meant to be permanent, something better is being prepared for you. Release your death grip on how this has to go. Release your anxiety about timing. Release your need to figure it all out right now. Just be here, in this moment, experiencing this truth. Someone sees you, someone values you, someone is falling helplessly for you, and that reality is already a gift, regardless of what happens next. If this guidance has served your soul, and you feel moved to support this work, super thanks contributions help me continue dedicating time to creating content that speaks to these deep heart matters. Thank you for being here, for receiving these words, and for trusting me with this part of your journey. So here we are. Someone is falling helplessly for you, your grace, your wisdom, your light. And what made them this certain, what captured them so completely, is something you've been giving without even trying, the gift of making them like who they are when they're with you. That's your superpower. That's the magic you carry. Not that you're perfect, but that you're present. Not that you have all the answers, but that you hold space for questions. Not that you're without struggles, but that you remain soft through them. And whether this specific person becomes your forever, or your for now, or your lesson that prepares you for later, you need to know this. What they're seeing in you is real. What they're falling for is worthy. What they're certain about is true. You have been grace for someone who needed it. You have been wisdom for someone who was lost. You have been light for someone who was sitting in darkness. That's not a small thing. That's not an ordinary thing. That's a sacred thing. And my hope for you is that you begin to see yourself through their eyes. Not to become dependent on their perception, but to let their clarity help you access your own. They're not making you valuable by noticing you. They're just accurately perceiving value that was always there. You are the person who stays kind when it would be easier to become hard. You are the person who thinks deeply when it would be easier to stay surface. You are the person who shows up fully when it would be easier to hide. That's who you've been becoming day by day, choice by choice, moment by moment. And now someone is falling helplessly for the result of all that becoming. Receive that. Let it in, let it matter. Let it confirm what your soul has been whispering to you even when your mind tried to argue. You are enough. You are valuable. You are worthy of this kind of love. Drop ready in the comments if you're ready to fully own who you've become and the impact you carry. And for those of you who have been supporting this content through super thanks, through comments, through sharing these messages with others who need them, thank you. Your engagement allows these truths to keep flowing. Your participation helps create a community where people feel less alone in their experiences. You're part of something meaningful, and I'm grateful you're here. Here's what I want to leave you with. Don't waste time doubting whether you deserve this. Don't waste energy trying to figure out if they're right about you. Don't waste another moment wondering if you're enough to be fallen for helplessly. You are. You already are. The evidence is right in front of you. Someone's certainty about you is the confirmation you've been waiting for. And even more than that, you don't need their certainty to be certain about yourself. Their falling for you is just highlighting what's been true all along. You've been this person, this graceful, wise, light-filled person, long before they noticed. You'll continue being this person long after this moment passes. So wherever you are right now, whether you're reading this in a moment of hope or doubt, celebration or confusion, confidence or questioning, I want you to breathe this in. You are someone worth falling for. Not because of what you do or what you achieve or how you perform, but because of who you are. In the quiet moments, in the messy moments, in the moments when you think no one's watching. Your grace isn't just elegance. It's the choice to remain tender when the world rewards toughness. It's the decision to forgive when you could hold grudges. It's the willingness to give people the benefit of the doubt when you've been burned before. It's showing up with softness even when softness has been mistaken for weakness. Your wisdom isn't just intelligence. It's the lived experience you've alchemized into understanding. It's the lessons you've learned through actual living, not just reading about life. It's the pattern recognition that comes from paying attention. It's the depth that comes from sitting with your own questions long enough to find real answers. Your light isn't just positivity. It's the authentic energy you radiate when you're connected to yourself. It's the hope you carry even when circumstances suggest hopelessness. It's the aliveness that pulses through you that makes other people remember they're alive too. It's the inexplicable something that makes rooms feel different when you enter them. This is what they're falling for. This is what made them certain. And this, all of this, is what you get to carry forward, whether they're with you on the journey or not. Because here's the final truth I want to speak over you. This is just the beginning of you understanding your own magnitude. This person falling helplessly for you is a preview of what's possible when you're fully aligned with who you are. It's a glimpse of what happens when you stop hiding your gifts and start inhabiting them fully, and whether this connection becomes your great love story or your powerful catalyst, whether you're together 50 years from now or this is a chapter that closes sooner than you hope, you've already won, because you've already become someone who inspires helpless falling. You've already developed the qualities that create certainty in another person's soul. You've already built a life and a self that makes people think, this is what I've been looking for. That doesn't go away. That stays with you. That's yours. So move forward with confidence. Move forward with grace, the same grace that captured them. Move forward with wisdom, the same wisdom that earned their respect. Move forward with light, the same light that made them certain. You are not hoping to become someone special. You already are. You are not working toward being worthy. You already are. You are not trying to earn love. You're already the kind of person who inspires it effortlessly. If you're receiving this message as a confirmation of what your spirit has been trying to tell you, if this video found you at exactly the right time, drop one final word in the comments, whatever word is alive in your heart right now. Because I believe in the power of speaking things into existence, of acknowledging truth when it's spoken, of standing in agreement with what the universe is affirming over your life. Someone is falling helplessly for you, not for who you're pretending to be, not for some curated version. For you, the real you, the full you, the beautifully imperfect, still becoming absolutely worthy right now you. Let that reality wash over you. Let it settle into your bones. Let it change how you see yourself when you look in the mirror. Let it change how you move through the world, knowing that your grace, your wisdom, your light are not just nice qualities. They're transformative forces that alter other people's trajectories. What made them this certain about you will leave you in the best way. It will leave you more sure of yourself, more grounded in your worth, more confident in your impact, more willing to take up space, more ready to receive the love you deserve. This is your moment. This is your confirmation. This is your reminder that you are exactly who you've been working to become. And someone else's certainty about that truth is the mirror you needed to finally see it yourself. Now go forward knowing you are grace. You are wisdom. You are light. And someone out there is falling helplessly for exactly that. Be blessed. Be certain, be loved. Because you already are.